I probably needed it. The Village of Lincoln Heights regular council meeting is now in session. Today's date is Monday, July 26th. The time is 8:07. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumfree,
Present.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Present.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber. No response. Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Present.
Councilman Durance Daniels,
Present.
Councilwoman Tanya Key. No response. Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Present.
We have 5 who are present, 2 who are absent. Mayor, we do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you.
I make a motion to excuse Ms. Baber from tonight's council meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. Roll call, Ms. Randolph, to excuse Ms. Baber.
Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumfree,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber's absent, Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durance Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key is absent, Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 5 aye votes, 2 who are absent. We do have a quorum.
Motion in order to excuse Councilwoman Tanya Key.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumfree,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber is absent, Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durance Daniels, Councilwoman Tanya Key is absent, Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 5 aye votes, 2 who are absent. The motion does carry.
Dear gracious and eternal Father, we want to thank you for bringing us in this place. Lord, we're once again back to do the business of the Village of Lincoln Heights. Lord, we ask you to bless the ones that are here and the ones that had desired to come but weren't able to come. But we ask you, Lord, to touch each and every one of our council members today, that we make the right decisions for the Village of Lincoln Heights. Lord, we ask you to touch us in a mighty way, that we make right decisions, that we move our village forward with positive results, and that we can come together to get the things that need to be done. And all these blessings I ask. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge of Allegiance.
I can't find all that. Oh. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right.
Can't find nothing on. I got roots.
Motion in order for acceptance of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion in order for filing of the journal for the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from July 12th and the regular council meeting minutes for July 12th of 2020 with any necessary corrections. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, any nays? All right, we're gonna go straight to announcements. Councilman Daniels, any announcements for you?
No announcements at this time.
Okay. Councilwoman Childs Jeter?
Yes, I just want to thank everyone who participated in Saturday's activities where we were gathered at Great Center and listening to the Black Walk of Fame. It was an excellent day and we had a lot of fun. So thank you for participating, showing up.
All right, thank you. Okay. Vice Mayor Stinson, any announcement for you?
Yes, ma'am, I have an announcement.
Okay.
September 4th and 5th is the Lincoln Heights 75th Diamond Jubilee celebration. It will be held approximately at 1201 Lindy Street, held from 12 to 8 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. Please come out and let's celebrate our 75th.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Mitchell, any announcement?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Baldreau, any announcement for you? Okay. All right. I have an announcement, but I think I'm going to hold it for my communication because it's a lot. I do want to say that this weekend was a wonderful weekend. We made history. I was able to do a proclamation for the Isley brothers, and when I do my communication, I'll read that because I'm sure because of it starting late, you may not be able to see it on YouTube, I don't know, but I will be reading the proclamation honoring the Isley brothers as part of my communication. Okay. All right. Okay, and so with that being said, we're going to roll into our 7th topic, and that's the speaker, Mr. Tom Carroll from the City of Silverton.
Unless you want the spotlight on you, Emily.
Hello, everybody. So this is going to be a presentation, Tom and I think it's the appropriate opportunity to kind of come together and talk about progress we've made over the past 8 months and talk about just a strategy going forward and some of the wins that we have made and anticipate. And so Tom and I have been working collaboratively together on this PowerPoint. And I'd just like to publicly thank Tom for all of the help and support being a newbie in this role. He has made it so much easier for me to do the work here in the village. And I so appreciate your support as a professional and as a friend. And so you've taught me a lot, and I absolutely appreciate that. So the way the presentation will work is Tom will start the presentation first, and then I will close it out at the end. And so I hope you all are open for having questions at the end, and I hope it helps to inform the residents of Lincoln Heights where we're going in the future. And I'm so excited of being a part along with you and helping to lead that future work. So here's Tom.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. And again, Tom Carroll, Village Manager in Silverton, and here as a colleague and friend of Joyce. I simply want to echo her sentiments. It has been my absolute pleasure to get to know her, as well as several of you, Councilwoman Mitchell, through the grant that you wrote successfully last year. I have to say, as somebody who from outside the community, as a colleague in local government, I am simultaneously extremely optimistic for the village of Lincoln Heights, because this council, this village manager, this legal team, you have the building blocks, and we are at a moment in time where I think there is an opportunity for transformative investment in a community like Lincoln Heights. And I think the challenge of all of us is to figure out how to seize that, how to capitalize on that moment. At the same time, as we've talked about the history, it's discouraging for me as an outsider, as a white man, to come in and talk about the lessons that I've learned as I've studied Lincoln Heights and the history. It'll be a little different from Professor Steiner's presentation, but I feel like I should begin up front by simply saying, you all know the history of what I'm going to present. I'm going to try and put it into data that is in the public administration space. But please understand, I know you know the history. I'm not here to explain this to you. So what we are trying to do in this presentation is prepare a pitch that Joyce and I can do together, Ms. Powdrell and I can do together, to go to foundations, corporations, philanthropists, and other people who have significant amounts of money and offer significant amounts, and we're talking millions of dollars in terms of grants, investments, and so forth. The idea is to capitalize on this moment in time. So I just wanted to state that up front. I'm not here to explain your history to you. You know it, I'm learning it, and we're going to show data that presents it. So the theme is we are trying to bend things back because we need to make it right. And that is a reference to Dr. Martin Luther King's quote, but also the history of this community. Next slide, please, Don. And this really echoes the earlier presentation. You know your history. This community was founded as an African-American-led community, and it was remarkable, is remarkable, and your community has a tremendous history that is rich, and you should be proud of it. It is my history too, and I am proud with you. Next slide. But you also know that, and this is largely referencing an article that I'm sure you've all read from The Atlantic from 2015, a very credible source of information, that Lincoln Heights' history is one of discrimination against the village. In 1939, and here I'm on the far left side, the community tried to incorporate, and this was stopped by Lockland, which at the time was an all-white community, a largely white community. At the same time, in 1939, Lincoln Heights tried to incorporate, and Woodlawn did a proactive, preventative incorporation of its own and formed its own community, which at the time Woodlawn was a largely white town. I think there's a couple of key things to point out here. If you talk to the chambers of commerce types, the newspaper editors, the business class, they point to how many local governments there are in Hamilton County. These two first columns point to the importance of why there are so many small towns. Some of these towns, in the case of Woodlawn, it was incorporated in a defensive mechanism to stay segregated, essentially. So when people say we should merge these communities, they are not really fully honoring and understanding the history of why these communities were created in the first place. We've talked about your 75th Jubilee. In 1946, Lincoln Heights was incorporated. This was after World War II, but the incorporation of your community was a mere 10% of what was originally proposed, and you know that it excluded any factories or industrial base. So Lincoln Heights, from its onset, was a residential community without the tax base that it needed to govern itself. 70 years ago, and now I'm on the final slide, in 1951, Evendale was incorporated. That is now on the other side of I-75. We know the history of the interstates and how they were put in our country to separate white and black neighborhoods. Evendale was incorporated in 1951, and they had what was the Wright plant, and which is now General Electric Aviation. And just to take a pause for a moment and look at that slide again and understand that these decisions that were made 70 and 75 years ago have tremendous consequences for us today. So for me as an outsider, for me as a student of history, for me as a public administrator, for me as an American, when people say there isn't a consequence to racially based decisions, let's look at the next slide. The 70 and 75 years ago, these decisions have tremendous impact on us today. In 2019, and the source of this is the audited financial statements, your community shape is that magical looking teacup, and on the other side to the right is the GE plant in Evendale. So just ponder this data for a second. We take the total income tax in these two communities, Lincoln Heights and Evendale, and divide by the total population so you can compare apples to apples. Evendale, because of the General Electric plant, has $5,839 per person to spend. You have $184. It's a staggering difference. This is, I would point out, not necessarily the fault of anyone in Evendale. These were decisions that were made 70 and 75 years ago. This is not attempting to pit Lincoln Heights against Evendale. It is simply to point out that decisions that were made 70 and 75 years ago affect us all today in hugely impactful ways. You know how hard it is to balance your budget better than me, and the reason is because of these decisions that were made 75 years ago. Next slide. The accumulation of those decisions happens year after year. We just looked at 2019, and I have to give credit to Crystal, the intern that you have. She and I were working together to update these figures, and she noticed when we were looking at the audited financial report of Evendale that in 2019, the village of Evendale earned almost $720,000 of interest income on its treasury. That same year, from your audited financial statement, Lincoln Heights on your income tax earned $100,000 less. So the village of Evendale earned more money on its interest than Lincoln Heights earned on its income. The wealth income disparity reduced to two figures for two different communities separated by I-75. Next slide. You know better than me the challenges of governing this community. I like to compare, when I do this analysis of tax bases, I look at what was the tax base in 2008. This was right before the Great Recession. So that's that first column. There's a lot of numbers up there. I don't expect you to dive deep into them, but the total assessed valuation of Lincoln Heights in 2008 before the Great Recession was $30 million. The tax base today is $21.5 million. What does that mean? It means Lincoln Heights, you, council, are governing yourselves on about 72% of the tax base that you had a mere 13 years ago. If you adjust for inflation, which is the far right column, you're governing yourselves as a community with 58 cents on the dollar of what you had a mere 13 years ago. So we don't have to go back 70 or 75 years. We don't have to go back 100 or 150 years. We can go back 13 years and we can see the results of the Great Recession. There are 13 communities here. Lincoln Heights is one of these 13 communities, all of which have a tax base that still has not recovered in terms of nominal dollars to its 2008 tax base. The bottom at Lincoln Heights, you see Lockland, you see Lockland is 98% of what it was in 2008. And then if you adjust for inflation, obviously it has less. But every other community other than these 13 has a tax base that is recovered from where it was prior to the Great Recession. But what strikes me about this chart is that Lincoln Heights is an outlier. Your situation is worse than Springdale, and significantly worse by about 10%. Next slide. Dusty Roads produces this table every year, and this table lists from high to low the tax burden on a $100,000 piece of property. So this is a screenshot, and I did a kind of a blow up on the right because if your eyes are like mine, I can't read that. So on the far right, I'm pointing out that according to the auditor's website, the most expensive community in Hamilton County is Lincoln Heights from a tax burden standpoint. If you have a $100,000 property, you have to spend almost $3,500 a year on property tax because the tax base of this community is relatively low. You are the most expensive from a tax burden standpoint on property tax. Next slide. At the bottom of this chart is Indian Hill School District. If you have a $100,000 piece of property in Indian Hill, you pay about $1,300 a year in 2021 in property tax. So if you think about that, the least wealthy community in our county pays the highest property tax, and the most wealthy community in our county pays the lowest property tax. We would not design a tax system this way if this was what we were setting out to do. This would be patently unfair. My intent here is not to pit Lincoln Heights against Indian Hill. Nobody has a $100,000 property in Indian Hill. They're all worth substantially more. And they have high tax burdens, don't get me wrong. But relatively speaking, on a dollar-for-dollar basis, the residents of Lincoln Heights are paying disproportionately high property tax. This is unfair. This is a slide that is very impactful when Joyce and I present this. This is really important for people who aren't familiar with Lincoln Heights. The top line, the majority of Lincoln Heights households earn less than $25,000 annually. The next quarter of residents earn between $25,000 and $50,000. And as a median household income, Lincoln Heights is significantly lower than the state or the county by a lot. People are stunned by this because they recognize, just looking at the household level, that a person like me, a person like Joyce, we could not live on $25,000 or less unless we live in a place where the housing is cheap or the housing is substandard or there's some other way in which we make ends meet. There is not a lot of economic oxygen in this community because of the high rates of poverty and low relative household incomes. This is impactful when we talk to people who think maybe there's a way for Lincoln Heights to govern its way out of its decline or its challenges, and when you show them this slide, they realize, wait a minute, there is simply not enough economic activity in this community by itself to pull itself out. So that is where we think we can be particularly attractive in inviting outside investment. Next slide. There's a great deal of talk around affordable housing in our county, and so we wanted to have some information about affordable housing. Over half of the rental units in Lincoln Heights, the renter is paying more than 30% of their household income. They are what's considered cost burden. They are at risk of eviction because of that. One missed day of work, one sick child, any of those things, which for me is simply a bad day, could be a catastrophic event that leads to ultimately an eviction because they don't have the means to absorb that. Next slide. There's been a great deal. This slide is intended to show financial institutions. If you remember in 2008, after the Great Recession, there was a lot of soul searching and a lot of work done to analyze what financial institutions did in terms of high-cost loans and predatory lending. This slide demonstrates that predatory lending and high-cost loans did not end in Lincoln Heights after 2008. The financial institutions that serve this community and serve our region have more work to do to be fair in terms of lending. Next slide. Another slide that I think when Joyce and I present to outside folks is very impactful. Over a third of the residents of Lincoln Heights are under 18, and then if you combine that with the residents who are over 65, you realize that almost half of Lincoln Heights residents are not really in the workforce. They're either children or they're retirement age. So that means that the number of people who are eligible to earn income is smaller in Lincoln Heights than it is in Hamilton County or the country. So there is really a great motivation to do something for this community, especially because of the high percentage of kids that live in this community. Next slide. And then I had done some research for ICMA, which is the city manager group, and I looked at all the first suburbs in our region, including Lincoln Heights, and Silverton is in this mix as well. There's 33 communities here. You see a stark split in our county in terms of neighborhoods, in terms of first suburbs. Everything in red or reddish color is, according to these three key measures, experiencing some level of decline. Everything in blue has some data that indicates it's either stable or improving. And you will see that about 2/3 of these communities have some red or pink, and you will see about 1/3 are blue. But basically, I would summarize it that the communities in blue are the communities that have always been and were built out as communities of choice, communities with great economic means. The working class and middle class communities, whether it's a Reading or a Silverton, these communities are experiencing real challenges. And at the top of the list is Lincoln Heights. You're not alone. There are 3 other communities that are really have a flashing red light: Gulf Manor, Lockland, and Elmwood Place. But you are at the top of the list as a community in dealing with what, in my opinion, are some of the most severe indicators of post-industrial Midwest challenge. And with that, all of this is, again, to point out and to use data when we go to foundations to show them the situation and the need for investment. And this is where Dr. Doom sits down, and I invite Professor Powdrill to come up and talk about what are we going to do about it.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. You did a great job of explaining the history. So there's a lot of doom, but there is a path forward, and we've talked about this. Donnie, next slide, please. And when I came on board, we all talked about how do we move the village forward. And we all settled on and made a commitment that we would focus on economic development, the village infrastructure, village operations, safety, stakeholder relationships, and marketing and branding of the village. Each one of these pillars has some kind of activity or initiative within its in this category that will help to lift the village or move the village forward in a more sustainable way. Next slide. I really would like to commend you as leaders of the village of all of the exciting work that has happened, and we get to celebrate this and talk to investors about this. The county committed $5 million from the American Rescue Plan for relocating the gun range. So I think a lot of that initiative to allocate those funds is from the work that you've done as mayor, as well as the advocacy work of the Heights movement. We all should give them credit for helping to move that to the next level. We began the COPS grant in January with the Hamilton County Sheriffs. That was more around community-oriented policing. I think we're all excited about the positive results that have occurred over the past 6 or 7 months since that grant has been in place. We've seen more interaction and collaboration between the village as well as the Hamilton County Sheriffs. We're working on to develop a memorandum of understanding with the Port Authority so that we can develop the 100 lots that we have available in the village. That eventually will bring revenue to the village. If we can get rooftops up, that brings real estate tax to the village. We have a group of experts, a group of professional experts, and some everyday folk experts to help us work on the land use task force. And this is in partnership with the Hamilton County Development and Planning to help us reimagine what our land should be in the village. We're leveraging the $250,000 of funding that we received from Memorial Field. We're using that to leverage our ability to garner support to be the Reds Community Fund in 2022. We feel like that we have a very, very good chance, and hopefully in the next month or so, we will be announcing that. We've been able to bring on strategic partners to work with us. on the community, the Reds Community Fund Grant. We've exercised eminent domain to acquire 50 feet of right-of-way to the interest of Memorial Field. What you see next to this rendering here is what we can reimagine Memorial Field to be like. There's a walking path there. There's a area for a concession stand, restrooms, basketball court, and reimagine of the field and football field, as well as you see the playground for, a new playground for kids. Next slide, Donna, please. We've been able to get the award of a mini grant with the county. This mini grant we will be able to use to hire a consultant that will allow us to reprioritize the streets in the village. We haven't done that since, I believe, since 2014. This will give us an opportunity to reprioritize the street and develop a 5-year plan to have those streets maintained over the next 5 years. We've upgraded the service department to a public works department. We're currently interviewing for the director of public works, and we're close to making a selection. We're applying for additional fundings for Leggett and Wabash through the SORTA funds available under issue 7 that was passed last year. We're currently in the process of repaving 4 streets, Stephens McIntyre and Taylor and Matthews. Next slide, please. Just to show you how, again, we can reimagine Lindy Street. There's a concept for you, as we talked about. But again, there's still additional work that we have accomplished over the 7 months. We're looking to work with the county to reduce the sheriff's contract. We'll use those funds that we save, those savings there, to help us increase our chances of getting OPWC funding to improve the roads. And then we're going to ask the county for additional $5,000 of CDDB funding or funds. $5 million. That is $5 million. I apologize. To invest in the village over the next 5 years to do redevelopment on the Lindy Avenue corridor. And that rendering there is a sample of what we can reimagine. You'll see the improvements at Memorial Field. There's an amphitheater there, and then real estate development along Lindy. Next slide. Do you all have questions for Tom and I?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's very aggressive. I like it. Most people know recreation is my baby. So when I look at the field, we already have 4 basketball courts, but we have no shelter. So if there's picnic atmosphere, people going to any other games or at the playground, there's no shelter. So, I would recommend that we take a look at where can we put the shelter, because that's going to be needed. Even if you have an event on the field, there needs to be shelter where people can sit. I know I was reading the law committee report, and it states no chairs on the field. Okay, no problem. But people need to sit, outside of the bleachers. So I think that bears another look at.
Thank you, Councilwoman Mitchell. And I am so thankful that you are on the Land Use Study Committee, so you'll have an opportunity to continue to add value in that conversation as well. We wanted to just give you all an opportunity to see what we can reimagine. And as you can see, there are so many possibilities that we can make happen there.
Any more questions, comments?
It looks great.
Charles Jeter?
It looks great. I'm looking forward to making it happen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilman Daniels?
Second the motion, everybody else is stating. No, it looks, no, it looks incredible, especially, you know, the spot on lending and being able to reimagine that for the future looks incredible.
So, do we get a copy of this?
Sure.
Okay.
I am so excited. I am so excited about Tom Carroll and our newest village manager. I know when we went on that field a couple of months back last year, I think just to talking about what we would like for it to look like, and when they came and did the we met, invited the residents to come and have a conversation about what they would like to see that football field look like. It was, it's just amazing what just someone's ideas and asking the residents to be a part of that. It's amazing what we can do if we put our minds together, and it's just a wonderful thing to see the village moving forward with positive results. We always say that, but it's the fact that councils working together with the village manager, introducing Ms. Powdrill to Tom Carroll, we really can tell that there's momentum, and we want to thank you, Mr. Carroll, for helping us. We had the idea, but sometimes we need a little help to get that idea moving. So we thank you. I'm very excited about it. I'm not going to get emotional about it, but I'm excited about it. When we walked that field that day, it was cold out, and we walked around. Councilman Daniels was there. Ms. Mitchell was there that particular day. So thank you so much for working with us.
It's a pleasure, Mayor, and just I want to point out how this works and how it works well. Is Councilwoman Mitchell wrote the Natureworks Grant a year ago, so there was essentially a $100,000 grant. I don't remember the particular numbers, but let's call it $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
And when Mayor Mumphrey and you and I met before Ms. Powdrill had started, we talked about could we work together on a CDBG CV grant, and the county looked at that and said, how do we capitalize on the $100,000 grant that Councilwoman Mitchell had received? And now, a year later, we're talking about the possibility of the Cincinnati Reds investing, significantly in Lincoln Heights. So every step you take, that $100,000 grant begets the next grant, and the momentum and the flywheel just starts turning. And that's why it's so important to stay unified and stay purposeful and moving forward, because this momentum could become, if we are successful collectively, could become incredible for this village. It's deserved, it's warranted, it's needed, and I think it's possible right now. So thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Mayor, I have another comment, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. Carroll, I just initiated the grant. I mean, I'm like, hey, we need to write some grants, and so not only the staff, Ms. Pope and Mr. Daniels, we worked 12, 1 o'clock to get it done. But, as we look at all of this, and we talk about our income tax, we know that is where most of our money comes from. And I know what our pillars are, and we do talk about economic development. But in your presentation, where do we see that coming in? How do we attack Shepherd Drive? Because that's the only commercial place that we have other than our Park 75, which we're glad to have. But how do where do we see ourselves going with some of this to be able to sustain all of these things through additional tax base?
It's a great question. And I will start out saying that we didn't get here overnight, and it's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to take the work and assistance of you all as well. I cannot do this all alone. It's going to take a week. But I've said all along, when I get up every day and I think about what is the work that needs to do, the long-term work that needs to be done for the village, I think about how can I generate income for the village so that we can set the stage for a more sustainable community, a more vibrant community. And so when I talk about the memorandum of understanding with the port, that speaks to generating revenue. If we can bring in more rooftops, because currently if at vacant land, we get nothing, a little or nothing.
It's true.
And you've worked on the housing piece, but if we can start to build housing, if we can start to improve the infrastructure of the village, if we can begin to reimagine the village and talk about some of the competitive or advantages of living here in the village, then we can attract more people to the village. And so part of our work is, as I talked about, is creating an environment where people will want to come to the village, creating an environment where people want to partner with the village in terms of creating job opportunities in the village, home ownership in the village, the public Wi-Fi. We just received a grant for $150,000 to bring free public Wi-Fi to the village. I think that it's an advantage. If we can pull that off, I think that we can have more people attracted to the village. It helps us to inform our residents more in a better way. It helps us to give them information. It helps us to protect the village in a better way. These are all game changer things that we can do in the village and to help us to grow and be sustainable. I think that when we talk about that, Tom and I, when we go out and talk to corporations and foundations, they get excited, and it excites us, and we start to say we might be onto something. I think we're on the right track, because every time we've presented, everybody said this is very positive. I think it's doable. How can we help? And oftentimes we leave with 3 or 4 things where we're asking them to do on behalf of the village. May not have a permanent commitment, but there is a conversation, let's talk more. And at that point, that's all we need, is to talk more.
The open door.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Anything else? All right, if there's nothing further, I just want to say thank you again and great job.
Thank you.
All right, I don't think we have any hearing from the residents.
No, Mayor.
Okay. All right, then we're going to go straight into the regular agenda. Communications from the Clerk of Council, Lisa Randolph.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. All right, and then that leaves communications from the mayor. As I had stated before, what I would like to do is I'm going to read the proclamation that was given this Saturday at Sawyer Point to the Isley Brothers. And so I'm going to read that because I knew the residents have been seeing that on Facebook and the news. And so I just wanted to give them the opportunity to know what the proclamation says. Proclamation, the Village of Lincoln Heights, honoring the Isley Brothers. The Village of Lincoln Heights was incorporated in 1946, the first black self-governed community north of the Mason-Dixon in the nation. Once a city of over 7,000 residents, acknowledges today the impact and the extraordinary contributions the Isley Brothers has made throughout the music industry. Lincoln Heights is honored that they are a part of our prideful, rich history. Whereas the Isley Brothers' legacy will begin from the time they were born, they would grow up singing alongside their mother, whom was a church pianist, choir director in Lincoln Heights and throughout Cincinnati. Whereas the Isley Brothers, through family tragedies and loss, will continue to help develop and marinate the different styles of music from gospel, rock, R&B, and soul. Whereas the Isley Brothers' music career has spanned for over 7 decades, with them releasing 111 singles, 43 studio albums, 15 compilation albums, and 4 live albums, with top songs like Twist and Shout, Shout, It's Your Thing, That Lady, Fight the Power, Nobody But Me, For the Love of You, Between the Sheets, Contagious, Footsteps in the Dark, along with many more hits. Whereas the Isley Brothers would be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Hollywood's Rock Walk, and Vocal Group Hall of Fame, receiving 2 Grammys, including the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. They would have 2 of their songs inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame as well. Now therefore be resolved that I, Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey, Mayor of the Village of Lincoln Heights, and the elected officials, in recognition of your success, we honor your great achievements and welcome you as sons of the Village of Lincoln Heights with this proclamation and key to the Village of Lincoln Heights on this 24th day of July 2021. Honorable Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey, Village of Lincoln Heights, Ohio. So with that being said, yeah. So with that being said, it was an honor to give them a proclamation, and for me and this village, we can't do anything about what happened in the past, but we can learn from it and we can move forward to have a next history for the next generation that's coming along. They need some positive things. So it was an honor because for me, we may not have that opportunity to do something like that. And since we have a momentum with positive going on, this was very important for me, and I thought for my community, for Lincoln Heights, for us to be able to stand there and hand this to both of them, Ronald Isley and Ernie Isley. And it was done at the very end, and I'm telling you, from the looks on their faces, they were very appreciative. And they were very excited. They did not know that they were getting a proclamation. The city of Cincinnati, I think they gave their proclamation and gave them a day. They went first, and then Lincoln Heights, I gave the proclamation and the key, and then the Cedric Denson and the state rep, along with the other state rep. I'm sorry, I can't think of her name. Kathy Ingram. I'm sorry, Kathy. They gave theirs, but I am happy to say that we were the only ones that gave the key. So they were very happy and very cordial, and I was happy to do it. And it was you could hear Lincoln Heights was in the audience, and they were like, let her finish. And so they were, the people that were attending, they were very, very, very excited that Lincoln Heights was on that stage to do that. So thank you, council, for allowing me to do this. And I think it just shows that we're willing to move forward.
Well, Mayor, I want to thank you for doing that for the rest of us, and also the fact that our name is out there now, and you can hear it. Facebook is talking about it. Listened to Lincoln Ware this morning, and he's talking about it. So it's out there, and that's what we want to do. We want to get that name out there, and the Isley Brothers help to promote that. So thank you for a job well done. So can we give a hand, please?
Okay, so we're back to work. All right, and that's what we do. That's what we're down here for. Next would be communications from the village manager, Joyce Paltrow. Oh, okay.
Guess that was it, huh? The one she gave.
Yeah, I don't think she had anything because she gave a report last. So we're going to go straight to the standing committees. We have a safety committee report by Chair Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter.
You do not have the written report in front of you, but I'll go through this as quick as I can.
Okay.
And we want to get to the voting part. We did meet on June the 15th at 5:32 p.m. Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson and myself were present. I'm not sure if Ms. Baber came in later, so we need to find that out. Others present was Councilwoman Tanya Key, Councilman DeRoss Daniels, Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell, Village Manager Joyce Powdrill, Assistant Village Manager Donna Pope, and Lieutenant Jeremy DePotley, Hamilton County Sheriff. There was no fire department. There was no fire report. Chief Amos did not attend. For the monthly police report, criminal reports, noteworthy incidents. May the 4th, 2021, report of shots fired in the 1300 block on Bills Avenue into a home. No victims found. However, the residents and a pickup truck struck by shotgun blast. No evidence for proceeding. There were no suspects. Okay. On May the 6th, 2021, Oak Park apartment shooting at 1400 Wabash Avenue, wherein shotgun victims taken to University Hospital. There are no suspects, and there is an ongoing investigation. Other activities in the community, 3 firearm recoveries and arrests, 5 felony drug arrests, 26 total criminal reports, and compared to April 2021 was 15. Non-criminal reports taken were 2 compared to April 2021 with 9. Suspects with an arrest or warrant issued, only 2 of them were found from Lincoln Heights. Understand this. Only 2 of them were from Lincoln Heights. The remaining suspects were from the West End, North Side, Pleasant Ridge, Lockland, Coleraine Township, North College Hill, Batavia, and Reading. So they're working on stopping this traffic in the village of Lincoln Heights. Report concerns on May the 3rd. Speeding on Shepherd Lane is a concern during daylight with children around. The citizens was notified by Lieutenant Jeremy DePotley that the issue will be monitored. May the 19th, traffic stop conduct of officer. Officer body cam reviewed and resulted in lawful actions taken by the officer. Lieutenant Jeremy DePotley explained actions of officer to citizen. With what they call the COPS grant, May the 29th through the 30th, 7 deputies participated in training in Anderson Township and received certification. On May the 14th, some deputies participated in the movie night at Lincoln Heights Elementary School. On May the 15th, community outreach with deputies David, Andre, Zach Cal, and Brandy Terry, along with our corner market, who provided the food and assistance to homeless persons at Lincoln Heights Missionary Baptist Church. Community outreach engagement with deputies Zach Cal and Josh Turner playing basketball with the youth. That's that interaction. Please contact the Sheriff's Office for any opportunities for participation in community outreach events. See a detailed report of the Sheriff Report for the month of February for additional information. Other discussion was street signs. Review the ordinance regarding no parking signs throughout the village and location of said signs. Review Dixie Court and Chicago between Dixie and Mangum. This is a safety issue. Village Manager Powdrill, working on contracting a company to get the potholes filled. She wants to sweep the village to begin sweeping the village to begin and finish before the Diamond Jubilee and then after the event. She will advise the Safety Committee on their strategy and approach to place street signs at the next committee meeting. There are reflective signs in the service area. The signs need to be the correct requirements for height before they are placed in the village. You can see the minutes for additional information. No action items, but a recommendation to be sent to the Law Committee to review the ordinance regarding no parking signs and which side of the street parking is allowed. The meeting adjourned at 6:43 p.m. That is my report. Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions for Councilwoman Childs Jeter? Motion to accept the safety report.
So moved.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next will be our Law Committee Chair, Councilman Daniels.
So the Law Committee report, meeting was July 21st, 2021. There was no old business, the new business we discussed, Memorial Field Rules and Regulations, Village of Lincoln Heights Code, Chapter 98 specifically says basketball courts. Made two recommendations. One, that the council amends Chapter 98 to have include language regarding communal recreation spaces and building parks, and then the next recommendation is just make a Chapter 99. Vice Mayor agreed that either option, especially with pocket parks and Memorial Field future reconstructions. She further commented that you should include everything recreational as well as any parks in the village. It may result in chapters added in each activity. I believe that 10 rules in the basketball courts would be applicable for all courts. Those 10 rules will place you on risk. Areas closed at dusk till dawn. No littering, no pets, no firearms, no drugs and alcohol in the beverages, no smoking of tobacco of any kind, no chairs on the courts, no profanity, no fighting or bullying. Chair Daniels recognized if there's a dog park or any other any additions need to be made if there's a dog park apparently. Chair Daniels inquired that a motion be made to take village council the village council amending Chapter 98 to form a motion to amend Chapter 98 from basketball courts for more inclusive to all recreational spaces and communal parks. Vice Mayor made a motion. It was seconded by myself, and then that was all the aye vote. There's no action items, no recommendations. That is my report.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Councilman Daniels regarding his Law Committee report? If there's no questions, motion to accept the Law Committee standing report.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Okay, next will be our very own Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson regarding the Lincoln Heights Day report.
Okay, Lincoln Heights Day Committee, I didn't put a date or a time that we met because there was no meeting. Cincinnati Circus has been confirmed and contract signed and deposit paid. Thank you to Ms. Powdrill for personally delivering it. Included in the contract is an event coordinator, zip line, mechanical cars, a couple of bounce houses, giant slide, 40-foot obstacle course, 4 basketball hoops, 9-hole golf, 10 cornholes, booths, tents, 2 stages, and everything we need for the festival. It's a lot more included, but I didn't type all that. Also included is a stunt show with the Wheel of Death, twice on Saturday, a magic show 3 times on Sunday, stilt walkers for the parade, balloon artist and juggler for Saturday and Sunday. Saturday from 6 to 8, Natural Onyx and the Love Lock Connection, which is I think like a 12-piece band, will perform. Sunday from 4 to 5:30, Kashaya from the Block will perform. DJ will spin music throughout the 2-day event. So far, we have at least 6 food trucks. Vendors are slowly filling up and booths are still available. Duke Energy was called to give us temporary electricity for the event. Thank you, Ms. Pope, for taking care of that. Sheriff Department is aware of their responsibilities for the event. Lieutenant DePaulo, he was there when we did the walkthrough of how we were going to set everything up, and he assured us that they're on board to do whatever they need to do. So nobody's husband has to spend the night down there this year.
I know
Rumpke has been notified about the porta potties. I think Ms. Pope is going to get the larger ones. We're going to try to get the air-conditioned one, but if we can't, we'll just get the 5 or 8 porta potties for the event. And August 5th, we'll kick off the celebration with the Harlem Globetrotters, Legends, playing against the Lincoln Heights All-Stars at St. Monica Recreation Center, and it will be free to all. I didn't have the exact date for the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast, which is also a part of the celebration, but I think it's August 24th.
It's August 28th.
28th, okay. Market action items would be, we're still working on marketing and promoting event. Ms. Powdrill, myself, we're working with Joe Shields, he is one of our contractors that helps with marketing, right? That's his title, I think. Ms.
Yes.
Mitchell has ordered the banners and signs, and she has secured funding to help pay for those, and I appreciate that. And for recommendations, I put too many to list, so that concludes my report.
Can we give Vice Mayor,
Now, let's wait till after the event.
well, no, we gonna applaud you now for what you done been through. We gonna applaud you then. Thank you so much, Vice Mayor.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
to Vice Mayor and Ms. Mitchell, I believe there's an ask in here for us to give $75.
Yeah, that's my suggestion. I think it would be befitting for us to, for us and the staff to, do our bit as we ask others, that we also give, in recognition of the 75 years.
75 years, I have no problem with that.
I mean, it's totally an individual thing, other than Ms. Powdrill asking the staff for us.
Is there a date to give this? Do you have a beginning date to start
No,
paying for this?
I do not. I was just, it's just a thought. I had talked it over with the vice mayor and the mayor.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
So,
I'm going to give my $75 if I come tomorrow. Remember to put my checkbook in here.
thank you.
Thank you.
I would do the same. I know my clerk of council, she's already done, Ms. Randolph already done bought T-shirts and everything, so.
$75 worth.
Yeah, so, so she did want to add that in there.
That's
So,
a great
yes, so
idea.
Thank you, Ms.
That's a
Randolph.
great
You
idea.
leading the way.
That's a great idea for $75 because some of us haven't done anything, and this way we're participating.
Mhm. So is there a motion to accept the vice mayor's report?
I make a motion to accept the vice mayor's report, including $75 from every council member.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there any old business? Okay, all right. So, on to new business. Here we go. All right. Motion order for resolution number 20R17. Resolution authorizing the finance director to accept funding under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021.
Motion that we read it by title only.
Second.
It's been moved and second to read by title only of resolution 2021R17. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber. She's absent. Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter.
Yes.
Councilman Durant Daniels.
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key. She's absent. Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
Mayor Ruby Kenzie Mumphrey.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes, 2 who are absent. The motion does pass. Village of Lincoln Heights, Hamilton County, Ohio, resolution number 2021-R-17. A resolution authorizing the finance director to accept funding under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021.
Any questions?
He just stepped out. Don't we need his vote? He voted for you,
I
man.
voted, he voted
He voted for
aye.
you, man.
Yes.
For the next motion.
I can't move forward till he comes back.
He voted.
Mayor, could I make
I have a
one,
question.
one quick suggestion that,
Yeah.
just since we're getting a little bit late in the evening? So I love Ms. Randolph's attention to detail with everything, but especially when she's calling a roll call. But since the record reflects that Ms. Baber and Ms. Key are not here tonight, I think she could probably skip calling them as we go through the next set of motions and resolutions. If that's okay with you, Ms. Randolph?
That's fine, that's great.
Okay.
that does get us moving ahead. Okay, so if there's no any questions, motion to suspend the rules of
So
resolution.
moved.
I had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I just wanted, just for the record, I know that Ms. Powdrill told us in the committee of the whole, but I want the residents to know what the money, what we're using the monies for.
In a brief summary, they're used for, we can use it for broadband, sewer, and stormwater. And as I promised, I will send each council member a summary of the use of funds. So you should get that tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Motion to suspend the rules of resolution 21R17. Moved in second, roll call.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter.
Yes.
Councilman Deron Daniels.
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey.
Yes.
5 aye votes, 2 are absent. Motion passed.
Motion for passage of resolution 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second, roll call.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter.
Yes.
Councilman Deron Daniels.
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey.
Yes.
5 aye votes, 2 absent. Motion passed.
Motion for the emergency clause.
Moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second, roll call.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter.
Yes.
Councilman Deron Daniels.
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes, 2 absent. Motion passed.
Motion in order for resolution 2021-R18, resolution authorizing the village manager to apply for the 2021 Community and Economic Development Assistant Program.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
It's been moved in second to read by title only. Roll call.
Councilwoman Linda Childs
Yes.
Jeter. Councilman Deron Daniels.
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey.
Yes.
5 aye, 2 absent, motion passed. Village of Lincoln Heights, Hamilton County, Ohio, Resolution Number 2021-R-18, a resolution authorizing the village manager to apply for the 2021 Community and Economic Development Assistance Program.
Any question? Ms. Powdrill, could you explain for the residents to know what it is?
Sure. Each year, the Hamilton County Department of Community Development and Planning allows for municipalities to apply for funding to do big projects in their communities. And this particular time, we haven't quite set on what we would do, but I wanted to make sure that we did not miss the opportunity to do a pre-application. Before submission, council will know what we're submitting for. And this, again, this only comes around once a year. And I wanted to make sure that we did not lose out on the opportunity to apply.
All right, thank you. Motion, if there's no questions, motion to suspend the rules.
So
Second.
moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second, roll call.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter.
Yes.
Councilman Deron Daniels.
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey.
Yes.
5 aye votes, 2 absent, motion passed.
Motion for passage.
Moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second, roll call.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter.
Yes.
Councilman Deron Daniels.
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey.
Yes.
5 aye votes, 2 absent, motion passed.
Motion for the emergency clause of resolution 2020 R.
Move.
Wait a
Move.
minute.
Second.
Wait, hold on, wait a minute. Let me get it out.
Well, Mayor, the reason why is Mr. Daniels got to go, he got to pick up his kids.
I'm almost done, but let me get out the number so the residents can hear it. Resolution 2021 R18 emergency clause.
Moves.
Been
Second.
moved. Second. Roll call.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter.
Yes.
Councilman Durant Daniels. Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey.
Yes.
5 aye votes, 2 absent, motion passed.
Okay, thank you. Motion in order for Resolution 2021 R19, a resolution authorizing the Finance Director to increase appropriations in the Street Maintenance and Repair Fund and the Fire Levy Fund from the unencumbered surplus.
So move.
Second.
It's
Oh,
been,
move to read by title only.
Second to read by
Okay.
title only.
okay, it's been moved in second to be read by title only. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter.
Yes.
Councilman Durant Daniels.
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes. Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes, 2 absent, motion passed. Village of Lincoln Heights, Hamilton County, Ohio. Resolution number 2021-R-19, a resolution authorizing the Finance Director to increase appropriations in the Street Maintenance and Repair Fund and the Fire Levy Fund from the unencumbered surplus.
Mayor, I'd like to make a
Question.
motion to refer this to finance.
Did y'all hear that?
And I'd second that.
It's been moved in second to move the resolution to finance. So we only had the, just the title on first reading. It will be going into finance, which the
Question. Is
Yeah.
it time for a question?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if you move this to finance, we will not meet again until September. Will that
No, ma'am.
be okay?
You know, we put out a memo, an email that says we're meeting tomorrow.
No, she's talking about the next council meeting.
Oh, no, oh, well, what
To
I
vote
would-
on it, when you vote, when are
sorry.
we gonna vote on 2021 R-19?
what, if we determine that we need to do this immediately, then we could just have a special meeting.
I'm not coming to a special meeting, I don't have time.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll have 5 others. I'm just saying that there are some things that need to be discussed that wasn't discussed prior to this. So, I mean, if September
kinds of
is
things are you
fine,
talking
I don't
about?
know what the emergency is, because we can, we're working at a deficit as it is anyway.
What is the emergency, Donna?
The emergency is the contract service line item in the street construction and repair is currently out of money.
Hold
And
on,
we
Councilman, hold on, Councilman Daniels, we have to,
No, go ahead.
His kids are out there, he's trying to get his kids.
No, that's right.
Well, the practical matter is if Ms. Mitchell and, and Ms. Stinson, who moved in second respectively, don't vote in favor of it, it's not gonna pass tonight anyway.
Yeah, well, I was just trying to get clarity on it, the next time that we meet, it would be a September meeting, so you're gonna call a meeting to make a decision on that? That's
I
what
would
you're
have-
saying?
yes, I would have to call one, because if we don't, if we just do this part and wait, which it should have went to finance from the get-go, and then they do a recommendation, but it didn't happen that way, so we need some more information and discussions
What kind
before we
of-
can finish. I don't know, but I know some more information's coming.
What kind of information do you need? You got the finance person here, can she explain it?
But normally with the when they have it in finance, it's usually sent as a recommendation instead of coming straight to council, but I do know things happen.
No, that probably would have happened if we had had the finance meeting and didn't move it to tomorrow.
Well,
Madam Chair?
I think we just need to, Mayor, at this point, let Ms. Powdrell speak to it. I sent you all an email that explained that this was coming and that I had asked for some additional information so that everybody understood what was going on. But I'll let Ms. Powdrell speak to it.
So for me, as a village administrator, I got the email on Friday, but I don't necessarily understand specifics of each line item. What I would prefer if the Director of Finance had a conversation with the village manager detailing what analysis in terms of what we've already spent, what we project to spend, that would help me to say, or to support the change in appropriation. So I'm not real clear about the allocations and why.
Okay.
And then I think once we get through the finance committee and let them support as well the changes, I think we'll be ready in September to present that. But for me, I don't have enough information.
So this doesn't have to happen until September. If it's a September thing, that's fine.
Can I say something, please? Okay, I had, when I sent the finance reports over to Ms. Paldrew, Ms. Mitchell, and the mayor, I had indicated that I would make expense and revenue adjustments, because we do this every year, even though, Ms. Paldrew is new. We do it every year. Quarterly, we make the adjustments to any account that we need to do. So I called Ms. Mitchell, because she was the finance chair, to see if it would be okay for me to ask for an increase in appropriations, because the contract services line item is out of money. And just like Mr. Deepak explained earlier today, the salt that we ordered this year was over twice as much as what we allotted. So we allotted $10,000 for salt, and it came in at $21,000. So I was trying to prepare for that not to happen again this year. So that's why I asked Ms. Mitchell, would it be okay for me to support or to sponsor this resolution? And we didn't have a finance committee meeting, and we won't have one until tomorrow. And then so I knew we wouldn't have another council meeting until September. So that's why I asked Ms. Mitchell, did she feel that it would be okay for me to sponsor this resolution? And then I sent the request to Mr. Deepak.
So let's be clear that when I talked to Ms. Pope, I asked a lot of questions, but I am safely presumed that she had already discussed it with Ms. Paldrew. So, but if Ms. Paldrew isn't clear on it, then we need to wait. Now, I know that in the past years, 3, 4, 5, 8 years, we have on occasion had meetings in August if we had to. So if this is not an emergency, that's okay. I'm not going to apologize for not having a meeting when I wasn't here in July, because I was taking care of family business. But Ms. Paldrew and I talked about it. She wasn't really aware of it. So that's the reason to refer it to finance, and the finance committee meeting is tomorrow at 5:30.
Then I think that's what we need to do then, because it's very important that the village manager, it knows and is comfortable with what's going on around this table. So if some can come at the special meeting, then they come. We have the 5 and we keep moving. But if it can wait till September when we resume, then it will happen then.
Thank you, Mayor.
That will allow Ms. Paldrew to get the information that she has before her, and will feel comfortable with the decision, and we'll be able to have a very robust conversation tomorrow. Okay. All right.
We have a motion to refer in a second, so we need a roll call vote.
Yes.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter.
Motion is to refer to finance.
Refer to finance. Let me say it again. Motion to refer to finance.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter. Okay, Councilman Durant Daniels.
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey.
Yes.
We have 4 aye votes. 2 who
No,
are,
you have 5. I was just sitting here marinating on that. Yeah, fine.
Okay, so Linda Childs
This is
Jeter,
something
yes,
that can be
okay.
done in September.
5 aye votes, 2 absent,
Yeah, September's fine.
motion passed.
Okay, all right. Got it all out? Okay.
Mayor, can I hijack the miscellaneous business section of our agenda for just a moment?
You sure can.
So, late last week, the executive director for the Ohio Municipal Attorneys Association, now I'm drawing a blank, Gary Hunter, sent an email saying that he had been requested to attend a meeting by the three big distributors of the opioids for a potential Ohio-specific settlement. There was a tentative settlement reached. You may have seen a bulletin about this that came out late Friday, but there is potential for about $1 billion to come to local governments. If, and I'm not sure what this means exactly, but if they sign on to the agreement. So I just wanted to prime council, since we're going on recess for the month of August, that this is something that I'm sure the manager and I will be discussing and getting some information on. But please keep yourselves abreast of this, because this is a direct settlement with what they call the three big distributors. And I'm not sure the details. And as we always say, the devil is in the details, right? But it sounds like a big number. And it sounds like there might be some money for us as well. So just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. And when Ms. Powell and I have more information, we will provide that to you.
So, Mr. Desai, I hear what you're saying, Mayor, may I? So the communities will benefit from it with some formula, but does it have anything to do with any statistics that we may have with the opiate problem in these communities?
I have a feeling they'll do it just like they did when they did the Economic Security Act,
Okay.
basically the first round of coronavirus relief funds. They'll have some type of program where they base it on population,
Okay.
something of that nature. So that's typically how Ohio does it. So, you know, maybe a formula like with the Transit Authority, it might be something similar to that as well.
Okay.
I don't know much about it. I don't think anyone really does, since it was just kind of inked, and I imagine they still got some stuff to work out. But the thing that's critical to me is that it sounds like we have to actively sign on to the agreement. And so that might be something that comes down the pipeline pretty quick. And so when we get back here in September, I didn't want you to be blindsided by it. I wanted you to know what was potentially coming down the pipeline, hopefully with dollars attached to it.
I like
Yes,
that.
yes.
Thank you for
Okay.
bringing that.
Thank you. Any other miscellaneous business?
Sound like some more paper.
Any more announcements missed or anything? Okay, I did want to mention though about the mayor's prayer breakfast. It's August 28th, and it's going to be at Lincoln Heights Elementary. It's going to be from 10 a.m. to 1. And we do have 2 Lifetime Achievement Legacy Awards, along with the regular Legacy Awards. But the Lifetime Achievement inductees will be the Reverend Damon Lynch Jr. and Dolores Lindsay. We will be recognizing some of the businesses in the village, along with a couple of residents as well. We will be recognizing, one of them is the former Mayor Richard Hedden, and Wendy's Business Management Systems, and Tara Tiny Tots. There is another candidate, but I like to talk to them before I say their name, and so we will be sending letters out to the inductees just to make sure that they're going to be able to come, because they have to send their bios. But we are going to, with the variant going up, we are going to practice social distancing. When it comes to, we're going to send out save the date when we want whoever comes RSVP, so we know how to plan it. But we're planning not to be there long. So I have talked to the caterers, and they are going to do a box breakfast So it's pick up and go, no handling of a lot of food. So we want to be mindful of what still is out there. So I did want to say that.
Is that at Lincoln Heights Elementary?
Yes, Lincoln Heights Elementary.
Is that by invitation?
No, it's just RSVP, but we'll be sending out invitations if they want to come, but they have to RSVP so we can get a count of how many.
What do you mean if I want to come? Miss Lindsay's gonna be there, Mr. Head's gonna be there?
Yeah,
Of course I want to come.
so that means he's gonna come. So if there's nothing further, is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
So move.
It's been, okay, it's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have a good night.
Ms.